it's going to be very easy to make money in these markets. We've also put a terminal value of 0 because we're not going to try to recover any of that $225,000 in that initial cost. Again, just trying to be conservative and show how possible it is. This is a little something put together just to show you that if one day the areas we mentioned just a few slides ago, that Caroline mentioned a few slides ago, were to one day have consumption levels equal to that of New York City, New York, we could expect in Chongqing, China, possibly 600 plus more stores. Buenos Aires, 200 plus more stores. And in Mumbai and Delhi, where we've never been before, there could be room for 300 stores in each of those cities. Now I'm going to hand it back to Caroline and let her give you a little background on those cities I just discussed.
Okay. The first city we are recommending is Chongqing, China, and it is the fastest growing city in the world. And you currently have 8 Starbucks locations there. The second city we're recommending is Buenos Aires, Argentina. It is the cultural hub of this country. You currently have 7 locations in this city. We're recommending that you move your growth into India and into 2 cities, Mumbai and Delhi. India is the second largest country in the world by population. Their economic growth is increasing every year by 7.5%. Mumbai is the New York City of India, and Delhi is the nation's capital and has impressive income statistics. According to a Harvard study on Starbucks, Delhi and Mumbai are full of young people with a lot of spending power. The founder and chief editor of Track-In, a popular business blog in India, stated that Indian middle-class consumers are ready to spend more and be a part of global lifestyle and culture. He also stated that coffee parlors in the country are on an expansion spree. Now I'm going to let Rebecca talk to you about strategic recommendation. Second recommendation.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I can't remember what I'm going to say for you.
Strategic partnership.
Our second recommendation for you is to continue expanding and form new strategic partnerships specifically with hotels and resorts worldwide. This is going to be a long-term venture that can test new markets to see if they are profitable. The locations of these storefronts in hotels will be strategic in that storefronts will not be placed where you are already present. This venture is to not only expand internationally, but to test the waters of certain geographic locations you have not entered yet. By entering new international markets through this channel, initial costs can be drastically reduced, thus reducing the risk as well. By putting Starbucks stores within hotel grounds, we could reach a great number of travelers across the world. These locations would be convenient for business professionals as well as wealthy upper-class world travelers. Strengthening the strategic partnership with hotels would increase Starbucks' international sales while improving the customer base of those hotel chains. In addition to the initial financial benefits, you'll be researching potential new expansion locations internationally. Within the United States, these hotels, DoubleTree, Embassy Suites, and Hyatt, offer your products in the room for customers to brew at their own convenience, whereas Hilton houses actual store locations in many of their U.S. hotel lobbies. We want you to expand the strategic partnership you already have with these hotels internationally and put more storefronts on the hotel grounds. As you can see here, we have a list of countries you have not entered yet. Most of these countries are world-renowned beach resorts or hotspots. Your locations in Mexico and Puerto Rico have been flourishing for nearly 2 years. Why haven't you entered into these markets?
Loyalty.
Loyalty.
In testing new markets like these, a very rigid formula can be followed. Before actually forming relationships, you should export to the country at hand and see how the sales go. If the sales go well, then you can move to the next step and begin forming relationships with these hotel chains. After forming relationships with a popular resort or hotel in a city with good potential for growth, you can begin licensing with the hotel to serve your coffee in the rooms. If this is successful, then an actual storefront can be implemented. This is the NPV. I'm going to come up with something to say here. The initial cost would be lower because you would just be implementing a storefront in an already existing location instead of having to build from the ground up. Your sales in year one would be the minimum you would have to generate to still be profitable. As you can see, it's not much more than your initial investment, and over a 7-year lifespan, that isn't much to ask. Sales growth, including inflation, we used a very low growth rate that is well below what you would normally see. And for terminal value, we chose not to salvage any of the initial costs to be as conservative as possible. This is basically showing you the minimum that this company has to generate. And
Good.
now I turn it over to Rachel.
All right, you're recording.
One argument that could be presented is that lowering prices in other countries like China and India may have an adverse effect on profits and ability to expand. You have already lowered your prices in China, which has allowed you to maintain your presence there. Your lower prices have allowed you to be more competitive with McDonald's in international markets where the McCafe is already established. Due to your lack of serious presence, we believe you should enter into international markets on a large scale, but only if done in the long run. The closing of nearly 1,000 stores in the U.S. shows signs of saturation and competitiveness, but it was also in part due to the rapid growth you had in the past 5 years. We don't want the same thing to happen internationally, so we suggest a slow, large-scale expansion. Your international focus should be shifted to lucrative and attractive environments, like the example countries we showed you earlier. Due to domestic saturation and competition and your lack of international presence, there couldn't be a more opportune time for you to take on international expansion. Since you don't pay dividends to your shareholders, your current platform is right to take on this project. With your continued commitment and giving consumers a quality product and unique experience, you can earn back brand loyalty that has been lost in recent years. In the example countries given, populations are growing rapidly and patrons are ready to spend and be part of a global lifestyle and culture. By using strategic partnerships with hotels and resorts worldwide to enter international markets, you will see a lower initial investment in opening new stores. Store count will increase without drastically increasing prices. Partnering is a way to expand sales, markets, growth, and has the added benefit of lowering costs in this situation. Often, when firms want to set foot in a foreign market, they decide to do it through a joint venture. By using strategic partnerships with hotels to enter international markets, your initial costs will be reduced, which can allow you to now test new locations to see if they are profitable. You can extend your core competencies through entering into relationships with organizations whose capabilities complement you. You are a leader in the specialty coffee industry because of your hard work and dedication. By following our recommendations for your firm, within the next 10 years we predict international sales and profit margin to equal and possibly far exceed that of the United States.